I forgot to take off my socks. These lights be getting me hot. So I understand why the camera be going hot and cutting off, because I be hot. And I wore a long sleeve shirt today. Whatever. It's whatever. Hi guys, welcome back to Soulevision, the safe channel to your soul. What do we back for another week? 15? Crazy. We almost at 4 straight months. Well, not straight, because whatever, we're not gonna speak on that, but we're almost at 4 months, and that's crazy. How are y'all doing? Hope you're fine. I hope everything's well, and even if it's not, I hope that you hope that it will be well as well, because I hope it'll be well for you as well, or too. I hope it'll be well for you too. Yeah, it's been another week in paradise. Gotta love it. If you were affected by Hurricane Ian, I believe the name, prayers out to you and your family, because that's terrible. Fort Myers was tore up. If you guys don't know, I live in the state of Virginia, but I am from Florida. So yeah, my family's fine. We're more on we're for sure on the East Coast, very close to the beach. So they're fine, but I hope y'all's family's fine and y'all friends are fine, all that stuff. But like I said, I hope your week is going well. I hope your weekend is going to get even better. I hope you get some good news today. I hope my voice brings good news to you. Like I'm that powerful. Anywho, if you're new here, welcome. I already said welcome to everyone, but if you're new here, thank you for tuning in. I hope that you really enjoy the show, because I feel like you should enjoy it, right? Anywho, without further ado, we're gonna make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, all those things. Give us a star ranking on however you're listening. If you're watching, that means you give a like. And yeah, I really just appreciate all of the subscribers. I appreciate everything. I just recently noticed that I got comments on videos. My phone was not alerting me. I had to go into my YouTube studio and then click comments, and I was like, oh, people have been commenting. That's crazy. So yes, so I'll reply to those later today. Sorry if it's weeks behind, but that is really in my true fashion. If you follow me personally on Instagram, then you know that I take forever to DM, because communicating with people gives me anxiety. I have to think about what I want to say, and then it'd be too many DMs to keep thinking about what I need to say. Then I got other things in my life that be distracting me, blah, blah, blah. If you can relate, comment, because it's very ghetto. I take weeks to reply to someone, and I'll apologize, but it's I'm not going to stop doing it, because my life doesn't allow me to. Anywho, sorry for all that. We're going to jump right into our affirmations. And if you're new here, we say affirmations at the beginning of each and every episode, because we need to come in here on the right foot. We need to speak positively to ourselves. And I feel like it's a really great addition. Especially if you don't speak positively to yourself often. At least you can hear these words and feel good. And hopefully, this becomes a trend for you to speak positively to yourself. When no one's around, when you're by yourself in your thoughts. It's like that kind of training. Okay, so I'm going to do a little pause right after the end of each affirmation, so you can say it out loud if you want to say it out loud, if you're watching and or listening. Okay. I am allowed to be loud. My thoughts and feelings matter. I like me. I love me. I am not perfect, and that's okay. Good things are coming my way. I love and approve myself. I matter, and what I have to offer this world also matters. I receive all feedback with kindness, but make the final call myself. My thoughts are my reality, so I think up a bright new day. One more. I give up the habit of criticizing myself. I like those. I just realized I had way too much for an episode. We only do about 10 an episode. I think this one was 11. I had 18. So let's give me a second while I put these over to another document. 1 second. The amount of affirmations I have is crazy. So those are our affirmations. I hope you liked them. And in one of the comments that I didn't see until now, and it was probably from like 2 to 3 weeks ago, someone was like, they love the affirmations. So that made me feel better because honestly, since it's brand new and, you know, it's mainly like friends and family or like, you know, someone that probably randomly like came onto this page. It's not like an instant feedback kind of thing. And I just want to make sure that people that are listening are enjoying what I'm saying, because what's the point? Like, obviously, it's my idea to create these videos and I have like a list of topics that I want to talk about. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm cultivating a show that is, I'm calling it a show, a podcast that people are liking. Like, so yeah, because I sat down and thought of these different segments before I even started the podcast. So I just want to make sure that, you know, people are enjoying them. I'm a great host. Thank you. So now we're going to hop into the deep topic. And I think that we're snatching edges today, and that's fine. I'm going to be as nice and polite as I can. But we're going to snatch a little edge, something that you probably need to hear, something that something that I definitely needed to hear a while ago. And sometimes I have to remind myself all the time. Like, I hit certain points in life where I have to remind myself of this. And I'm reminding you. I'm reminding you. So I was going to title this Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life. But that sounds too like motivational speaker-esque. And like, while I do like motivational speakers, I don't like coming in that same way that everybody else comes in, because that's what everybody else doing, and I don't like that. So I named this segment You're the Problem, Sis. Sometimes we can be in our own way, and that's the truth. Okay, let me just start in the beginning. The beginning is still changing your mindset, right? Because it's your mind. Your mind is thinking the thoughts that you are allowing it to think, and those thoughts get in your way. So that's how you're in your way, right? So we're going to talk about changing your thinking and your perspective in order to get out your own way. That makes sense? I pray in this video I have all the words up front versus at the end of the video, because I feel like in these videos, while granted, quick aside, I started this podcast to get better at speaking, because I am naturally not a good speaker. I'm not a great speaker. I used to say, and still do say, and like a lot. And my brain doesn't use the same words that I would use when I'm typing versus when I'm saying out my mouth. So I'm trying to train my brain to do that. Hence why I am just okay with putting myself out there, even though I'm just your average Joe. But I feel like when I am typing, I have the best words. I say things very eloquently, very much put together. But when I say it out loud, it's like, and so I just wanted to practice that. And here we are. I'm very proud. I have not looked at my first video, but I can tell just from the way I am speaking right now in the most recent videos, my speaking is getting better. I haven't had to edit the videos as much. It doesn't take as long to edit because I'm better at speaking, and I am very proud of myself. So clap it up for me. All right. So we're talking about changing your perspective, and I forgot where I was at because I do quick asides. Come on. Change your perspective, change your thinking. Now, when I say this, right, most people will just say, you just got to change your mindset. You got to stop looking at the negatives. Forget the negatives. I just jinxed myself by that. Congratulations for me. But we're gonna stick through it. You have to ignore the negative and only focus on the positives in your life. That's your problem. You're not being positive. You're not being positive. But it's like, it's much harder than that. And it's not healthy to neglect your negative thoughts. So Rule number one, when I tell you to change your mindset, I'm not saying that you should ever neglect your negative thoughts. You should always feel and acknowledge your negative thoughts, because that allows them to process and run their time, versus when you ignore. Last episode, episode before last. Was it episode before? Yeah, episode before last, we talked about what happens when you ignore things. Same thing stands. So you can't ignore your negative thoughts or your negative experiences. You allow them in, you process them, and then you start thinking of the positives that you can see. You look and find those positives just the same way you can look and see the negatives. Seeing the negatives is very much more. Seeing the negatives is easier than finding the positives, because the positives, I think our brains are just normally trained to think of the negatives, to remember the negatives. You remember more negative experiences than you remember happy experiences, but you just have to train your brain to think of the positives. And sometimes in the beginning, it's going to be like you talking to yourself and asking yourself, what's the positive in this situation? How can I learn from this? You have to be in your own head while you're thinking of those negative things, to also kind of interview yourself and ask yourself, what can I be grateful for? What can I be positive about? Like, what's positive in this situation? What can I learn from the situation? What am I supposed to learn from the situation? Am I supposed to learn from the situation? Because normally you are supposed to learn the situations, right? But if you're in a place in your life and you're seeing nothing but the bad, looking in the future and expecting worse, then you will for sure see a lot of that come to life. If you search for bad, it will come. See, I'm having one of those moments where the stuff I wrote down is not really going with what I'm saying, but it's like out of order in my brain. I wish I just had okay. So what you focus on is exactly what's going to happen. Just like how some people be going through their significant other's phones and they be finding stuff because they be looking. I'm not saying you speaking an unfaithful person in your life, but like sometimes it just be you search and you will find. So you just flip it. You search for positive, you're going to find the positive. There's always going to be a positive, no matter how bad. Now, this is not to poop on someone's situation that is really terrible, because some experiences are very terrible. And I'm not saying that, forget about it. Like, I'm not looking down on you for feeling bad about your situation. I'm not minimizing your situation, but at the same time, I want you to find something that's positive. Not telling you that your situation isn't bad, but in your bad situation, find the positive, find the lesson. The lessons hurt, but those are positives because you're learning something, so you don't have to go through this again. Lessons are helpful, period. No matter how hard and painful they might be, they're teaching you something. Learning is always beneficial. Everything that you focus on multiplies. You focus on hope and faith for better, you will get just that. You're on the lookout, and that's what you will find. Period. But yeah, back to your bad situations. Acknowledge how much it sucks, then move into a space of expecting things to get better. Expecting things to get better is you looking at the positives. Not saying that it could be worse, but also like, this will get better for me. And you focus on that getting better, then you will make actions to get better. And I think I'm not saying that you have to plan to do things to get better. Once you think better is coming, you act like better is coming. I feel like it's just, they go together. If you think that things are going to get worse, you're going to keep putting yourself in spaces to allow it to get worse. You gave up. So how will your actions reflect trying to get better if you in your head don't see it getting better? It just doesn't work like that. That's not how it works. I've never seen it work like that. So you can picture yourself in a better situation, and you can focus on the things that you're grateful for. Not minimizing what you have been through, not minimizing what you're in, but you are alive. And if that's all you got, then that's all you got. And that's something to be grateful for, because some people aren't. The bare minimum is that. Because if you wasn't, then you wouldn't be listening to this podcast, if I'm being honest. But that is something to be grateful for. You have eyes you can see out of. You're able to listen to this podcast. I don't know. Being alive is just amazing. And a lot of people take it for granted because they just go through day after day like life isn't precious. And I don't understand that. I don't. But in the end, or in the middle, because we're in the middle of what I'm saying, what you focus on multiplies. I'm not sure if it's like how everyone's saying you manifest what you focus on. Or since you're so used to seeing the positives, you're going to always see positives. Once you train your brain to see positives, even when something isn't great, because just because you think you're manifesting, or I'm not going to say think, because I'm in the middle with believing manifestation, faith. It's just really a lot. But just because you manifest a life that you want doesn't mean bad's going to happen. You have to train your brain to see the positives or the things to be grateful for in the worst situations. Okay? You should focus on the hope and faith for better. You will get just that. Another good point that I made. Shout out to me. No, I'm just playing. But your brain is super, super powerful. And what you allow it to... what's the word? What you allow your brain to cling to and to replay in your head is also very much so important. You do not want your brain to be replaying negative experiences, because you're only going to see the negatives. You're only going to see the negatives in people. You're only going to see negatives in situations and experiences. You're just going to see nothing but negative, and it's going to keep coming to you, and you're going to wonder why bad things always happen to you. But your brain is focusing on that. I'm trying to think of an analogy, but I can't. Hopefully it'll come later. I want a really good example for that. But we get to a great place when we stop criticizing ourselves. We stop being so upset about things that, aren't in our control. You change your mind, you change your life. I think it's deeper. It's deeper than just seeing positives, because Okay. There's a difference between being positive and seeing positives. So when you are being positive, you are basically faking happiness. You're faking the fact that you're going through this. You're ignoring the negative experiences that are happening to you. You are faking the funk. You're telling everyone you're fine. You're a fraud, basically. You're really an imposter. But seeing the positives are seeing the positive things that are happening to you in spite of your trials and tribulations. Are we getting that? Because that just clicked with me. That's why when people are always saying like, be positive, positivity, they're speaking it in a way of telling you to be positive no matter what's happening to you. But in reality, we are humans, and we should be allowed to feel all of our emotions without cutting off one emotion, because that doesn't make sense. We are ever changing, and emotions go all over the place, but why would you neglect an emotion? Yes, it is a bad emotion, but good and bad, they go together. Good and bad happen in life. Good and bad should happen within your body or in your brain, basically. So I think that's where a lot of people get messed up. Even when I was very new on my spiritual or healing journey, it was like, be positive. So I'm like psyching myself out, and I'm trying to figure out why I still feel this way. I feel even worse now, because it's like I am putting on a mask But it's like, that's counterintuitive to my process, if that makes sense. So I was trying to be positive, trying to spread positivity, which the positivity was coming from a very real and sincere place. But at the same time, I wasn't really having a positive experience while spreading positivity. If that makes sense. My cousin is calling. I'm going to lose track if I answer. I'm going to have to call her back. I know myself. But that's the biggest mistake I've ever made, doing that. And I thought I was, doing it or giving the videos or doing what I was doing from a really good place. But at the same time, I was just listening to people on social media. And here I am, another person on social media, which you don't have to listen to me. But I'm just telling you, the difference is giving you the information and you do what you want with it. But I have also been able to sit and think about these things, because that's all I really do is sit and think, which I used to hate doing, but thinking healed me. So anywho, that's the difference. See positive, not always be positive. You don't have to always be positive. That's where you can become mentally ill from faking your positivity. If you're not feeling good, you're not feeling good, and you're okay to not feel good, because you're human. Now, when you are happy, you're happy. When you're happy, you should truly be happy. You shouldn't be faking no happiness. And if you are, then you got to change that. Anywho, but also on the same token, just because I say that you are allowed to not have a good day, do not dwell on the bad days, because you'll have more and more bad days. If you, with your brain, when you think of bad things coming to you, you lose hope, and that loss of hope forces you to not do the things that you used to do, because you lost hope in all things, which makes more bad things happen. If you have hope and you see positive and you see a future of positivity or positive things happening to you, you gain hope. You increase your hope points, and you do things that you don't normally do that lead to that future of a positive or more positive experiences, blessings, etc. Experience the negative, give yourself time to experience that negative, and then come back and see the positives and all the things that God is doing for you. The trials don't seem like they're working out for you, but in reality, they're building you up to be the person that you need to be. Because how are you supposed to get all the things that you want when you're not the person you need to be when you're supposed to receive it? If you're given the things that you're supposed to have at the wrong time in your life, you're going to mess it up. So how are you upset at God for building you into the person you need to be to get what you need when he knows that you're going to lose it? Would you prefer, deep down that you're going to lose it and you're going to mismanage it because you can't control all things within you? You can't be mad at God. He's looking out for you. Just keep the hope, keep the faith, keep going, and start seeking positivity, okay? Or positive experiences. Look and find, search, use a mag. If the positive is so small, I don't care how small the positive is. You better get a magnifying glass and look through that to find that positive, because it's so important. That little positive can give you so much hope. That little positive is that faith of a mustard seed. Okay? Can we get out of our own ways? Can we get out of our own heads and stop being negative and stop being so critical of ourselves when we make a mistake? You made a mistake. Keep going. It's okay. You're supposed to make mistakes. Now, that can be people pleaser tendency in you, or you are high functioning anxiety, you have high functioning anxiety, or you have high functioning anxiety, whatever it may be, it's okay to make a mistake. Hold on, let's do some ASMR. Okay, I'm sorry. I played too much. Now I lost where I was at. My kids are upstairs bouncing and jumping off the bed. Dang it. Oh, you're human. You're allowed to make a mistake. I don't know where that stress comes from, but you are for sure allowed to make mistakes. Nobody just makes it anywhere without making a single mistake. I make mistakes all the time, and I'm at the point where it's just like a mistake is a mistake. It's going to happen, and it's whatever. So let go of that pressure, okay? Now, another way we be in our own way, because I ain't done snatching edges. I'm going to snatch another edge. Same thing with our mind is sometimes some of us, I'm not saying it's you, I'm not saying it's me. One thing I do, or not do, sorry, did I mess with the mic? One thing that I am grateful for and about is my will to just do things regardless of how I feel about it, regardless if I'm scared. I don't know if I learned that on my way or if that's just something that was always instilled in me, which I'm going to get credit to my mom. Shout out to my moms. And for instilling the will to just do things that I want to do whenever I want to do it. Who cares about what anybody thinks? I'm just going to do it because I want to do it. I got the brain. She always told me, turn your hand and make fashion. I don't know how to accurately, word for word, translate that to English, but it means you can do anything you want to do. God gave you these hands. You can do anything you want to do. That's how I took it. That's how it is. So I thank my mother for that. I really appreciate it. But for some of y'all listening, I'm not saying I'm better than you, okay? Don't want this to come off that way. All right. But some of us think our ways out of situations that we didn't even start yet. There's a lot of people in this world that want to do something, but think about it so much and think about all the bad things that could possibly happen to the point where they don't even do the thing that they want to do. You have to train your brain. It's your brain. It's your brain that's causing you to do this. And some people, they end up blaming other people's certain circumstances as to why they didn't follow their dreams, but it's you. You're the reason that you didn't follow your dreams. You're the reason why certain things aren't happening for you. You're in your own way. I mean, obviously you can't see it, but you're so close up to yourself, technically, you can't see that you're in your own way. But your way of thinking is getting in the way of your actions. Whew, that was good. That was good. Your way of thinking is getting in the way of your actions. Yeah. Wow. You have to train your brain. And by training it, I told you do those interview questions, or you tell yourself, even when you're starting to think about bad things, you tell yourself to tell you certain things that you're grateful for. Just cut off the negative thought with, what am I grateful for? Give me 3 things I'm grateful for, me. Hey, me, tell me 3 things that I'm grateful for. That way, it's training your mind. As soon as a negative thought comes, then boom, there's a positive. Now, this might sound like I'm contradicting from what I said earlier, but once you think of all the negative you could think of, it's all just going to be repeat. So once those repeats happen, that's what I'm talking about. You cut it off right then and there. And then eventually, when some bad things happen to you, you're like, yeah, that's bad, but still alive. Still have my family. Still able to eat. Still got a roof over my head. There's so much things that you should be grateful for, the basic necessities are slept on, because without the basic necessities, you wouldn't even be here functioning the way you need to function. So don't sleep on them. All right. But sometimes we stress ourselves out so much to the point where we don't do what we need to do. Oh, sorry. So when your brain does start to kick in, when those negative thoughts start coming, you need to reward it. Like you say, good job. You get happy for yourself, because that's a hard thing to do. It's very hard to be in your brain. Like your brain is the thing that talks to you the most. Like you hear from yourself the most out of the day. And for a long time, a lot of us go on thinking that we can't train our brain. We can't change our thoughts. Like our brains are just going to think what it wants to think. But no, you're in control of that. You allow what goes in. You allow what comes out. You just have to figure out your power and practice that power. Practice makes progress. And I believe in you, sis. I do. But I'm going to still snatch your edges some more. All right? I'm out of breath. But I'm very proud at how well I'm speaking. It's very monumental for me. Anywho, instead of losing hair and gaining weight, stressing over a situation that stress can't fix, take the burden of stress off of you. And dream about better days. If you really believe it, it'll come true. What I mean by that is, oops, sorry, Mike, I keep hitting you. Sorry, listeners. What I mean by that is, when something is stressing you out, you need to remember that you stressing is not going to change the situation. The situation is still going to be there. Now you're just stressed with the same situation. It's not easy, but calm your brain. Think about what you're grateful for. Think about the positives. Think about how much better things are going to get once they get better. Think about how that feels. Feel how that feels. Because there's no point in you stressing when it's not necessary. If you have a kid and you tell them to do something that they don't want to do and they start crying, that crying is not going to change the fact that they have to do this thing. They're just also crying while they have to do this thing. So why put your body through that kind of stress when you're still going to have to face this stuff? You don't need to stress yourself out. I prefer you to be, I'm not going to say you're going to be calm. Like, I'm just saying, like, your body don't deserve to do that, because either way, you're going to be living in whatever bad situation that you're living in. Calm down, see the positives, work towards the positives, and things will just get better without the stress on your life. As far as us getting in our own heads and getting in our own ways, when it comes down to doing certain things that we really want to do, that's going to leave you with a life of regrets. And I don't want you to have a life of regrets. We don't want to regret anything, or we don't want to regret not doing something. Sometimes I think, I don't know, a quick thought that came to my brain is, I would prefer you to regret doing something versus regret not doing something. Because I feel like for me, anything that I did that even though it didn't work out, I still don't regret it. But some people, they might regret certain things they did. And yes, I think that you have to come to a certain point in your healing journey to even see that the bad thing that you have done, like, you don't regret it, because those bad things made you into the person you are today. Like, even the bad things that you've done to people. But I prefer you to regret something. I prefer you to regret something you did versus regretting not doing something. Okay, so let's get out of our own heads. Let's get out of our own ways. Let's stay focused on the prize. Let's stay focused on what positives can be out there for us. And let's get those positives. Let's get those blessings. Let's get those things. But we have to get out of our own way. We have to get out of our own head. We have to get our brain to a point where it sees the positives. It searches through, Control F. It searches through the documents of your life and it sees the positive. Because nobody want to be around nobody that's negative. It's always negative all the time, right? You got a friend, or you had a friend that every time they call you, every time they're around you, they're negative. They're nasty. They always got something going on. They always tied around drama. Like, you don't want to be around that. But whole time in your head is just like that. If you go into a situation already thinking negatively, like, you're not going to want to stay there long. You're not going to want to do your best because you're already feeling bad about it. Or does that make sense? Now, I'm not telling you to be overly optimistic, but just know that whatever's supposed to happen for you is going to happen for you eventually. It's not going to happen straight up, but, or it might. Who knows? Like, I don't know your fate. If you're always seeing the negatives, you're just going to be turned off by a lot and or most things, and it's going to keep happening to you. So let's get it together. I believe in you, and listen, it's going to be a little hard, but you can do it because you already have that increase in hope. You already see things getting better. So you got it, sis. I believe in you. All right. And I hope you really take in what I said. I hope that it really helps you. I hope that it allows you to realize how your brain is really in your way. Like, you're really in your own way. We overthink and we stress about certain things that really don't, I'm not going to say it don't matter, but it's not going to change your situation. It's just going to have your body in a mode of like being tense all the time when it doesn't have to. How do I say this better? I don't know. For me, it just seems worth it to live a life that, or to do things and operate where I'm not stressed out and tense, because then I won't be able to perform in the way that I would normally perform, which also means that I won't be doing as great as I normally would. That's basically what I already said. But I don't know. If you are going to have to go through experiences anyway, I prefer to have my body relaxed versus stressed out, because with stress, you get sickness, you get forced days off. Like, you got to force yourself. Well, your body forces you to take a day off. Like, you don't need that. Stress can cause so many health effects that I don't have a list of, but stress can cause health effects, hair loss, weight gain, weight loss. Like, it's just a lot. And I want you to get to a place where you can deal with the toughest of the toughest situations, feel those negatives, then switch it to the positives. And then see positive out of that situation. You hear me? And I hope I put it the best way. I want a better way to explain like why stressing about something isn't worth it. Stressing about something twice definitely ain't worth it, because you already stressed about it. What did that stress change? Stress don't change nothing but have adverse effects on your body. I'm not a rapper though. All right. So once again, yes, done with that, because I don't want to repeat myself. But I said, but I ain't saying nothing else. We're going to hop into our Let Loose segment, which is Reddit segments where I speak on little Reddit topics. We letting loose. I'm not snatching your edges anymore. I'm not telling you about yourself. Let loose. We have 2 sections. Number 1, what is a little known fact that can save you from a life-threatening situation? I'm saving a lot of us today. Hopefully this is information that I can use. Okay. In the extreme unlikely event you're attacked by a swarm of bees, most adults can typically just outrun them, especially if you run in the wind. Do not stop running. Some bees will chase you for up to a quarter mile. Do not try to hide underwater. They will wait for you to come up for air. New fitness goal, be able to outrun a swarm of bees. What the heck? A quarter mile? They gonna sting me then. How fast do I have to run? How many miles per hour? Questions that need answers. Questions that need answers. That's crazy though. So if you're getting chased, run. I got stung by a bee, and it wasn't a swarm, so I didn't even know it was a bee. I thought something was messing with my neck, and I like moved my little weave out the way, and boom, stung, and it was stinging. Okay. If you think you hear someone outside of your house at night, your instinct will be to turn all the lights on. You should in fact turn them all off for 2 reasons. First, with the lights off, he can't see where you are or what you're doing. Second, you know your way around your house in the dark way better than he does. And if he gets in, this works to your advantage. That's very smart. I just be scared that I won't be able to see them and they'll be able to see me. That's the only problem, because in the dark, I'll probably be shooting blanks, like not shooting blanks, but shooting at inanimate objects, because I think it's the person. So yes, Okay, someone says, wow, this makes sense if you live in a rural area or area with slow police response time. In a more urban setting, turning on the lights will let any burglar know that they've been detected, making them more likely to flee and seek an easier target. Surprising them in your home while tactically giving you an advantage means you committed to a fight, meaning you're more likely to get hurt. Best to try to avoid the fight entirely rather than trying to get the element of surprise. I agree with that. I'm just going to start bussing automatically. So don't you ever try to do that to me. People commonly say not to make eye contact with people in sketchy places. However, eye contact takes away the element of surprise, which is often an attacker's first weapon or advantage. My colleagues comment that I always walk with purpose, like I'm on a mission. They don't know it's because my dad taught me to be confident AF before going to college. You're less likely to be messed with that way. Confidence, that's true. You can tell if someone's sketchy through their eyes. Like, they don't want to make eye contact. They, like, kind of side-eyeing you because they know they're finna do something bad. Unless you're a serial killer, because I think they can do that. Yeesh. I don't know if it's true everywhere, but where I've been in the western states, it's a general rule. When lost in the woods and you find a logging road, what's a logging road? The intersections at a T are generally not 90. The least sharp turns almost always point back to the highway. Full logging trucks don't turn as easily, so the less shaped turns are usually on the way out. Oh, okay. So if you're at an intersection and one side makes like, how do I explain it? So you're here, one side makes a obtuse angle and the other, see right here, this makes obtuse angle, and then this piece is an acute angle. More than likely, this way is the highway because trucks need a wide angle to turn. So they're going to turn at the obtuse angle. Oh, that's smart. Won't catch me in the woods lost, though, because, boy, I'm finna be if I ever go camping or whenever I go camping, because my son wants to go camping, we're going glamping. We're going to be not too far from civilization, but not so far that we can get lost out there. So, yeah. All right. My stomach hurts. Let's try to get through this episode. In the case of an abduction, your best bet is to scatter some of your belongings like an ID on the ground. The possibility of tracking you down becomes much easier that way. If you're confronted, that's smart. Let me say that. That's very smart because they know she was here. I don't know how long ago she was here, but she's not far away. Or this is probably the starting point or whatever. However, detectives tell what's going on. If you're confronted by someone wanting to abduct you, run. And run like hell. If they try to kill you for running, they were almost certainly going to kill you anyway. So your best bet is to just take off and hope they move on to someone else. I don't know about that because I feel like sometimes if you make someone angrier than they already were, then they might have other thoughts because they start panicking. I don't know about that one, but I will still run. I would if it's a guy, kick him in the nuts and run. If it's a girl, kick her in the stomach and run. Call it a day. Drink when you're thirsty. Too many travelers die of thirst while literally carrying water. Rationing water may be appealing, but it's always important to drink regularly. It happens in the Grand Canyon. Try looking up hiking accidents there. There's also at least one full book called Death in the Grand Canyon, I think. I've heard about similar incidents in Moab, Death Valley, and Red Rock too, but Grand Canyon is a bit of a magnet as far as inexperienced desert hikers mistakenly deadly landmark for safe places to go. Okay, all right. Drink when you're thirsty. I force myself to drink water because sometimes I do be thirsty if I'm talking a lot, but I don't know. I just have to make sure I get a certain amount with each meal or in between meals because if not, then I'm not going to drink much water. It only takes about 20 pounds of force to rip off a human ear. Grab the top and pull downward towards the chin. On God, 20 pounds of force is basically opening a pickle jar. Is it? That means I could tear off my own ear. That's crazy. Also, if you're in danger, you can rip someone's ear off. That's a good tip. That's true. You don't really tug on your ears, but if someone just... Tell your daughters if someone is coming out. Well, tell your daughters if someone is coming at you in a threatening, kidnapping vibe, pull out your phone and say Facebook Live, and there's a good chance they'll walk away. Since it's live streaming, you don't have to actually fidget to get Facebook Live and streaming. Just say that you are. Please do if you're capable. It saved my 38-year-old cousin from getting kidnapped while out walking her dog. She learned it from a 14-year-old, friends with her parents, who was also almost kidnapped. Wow. That's very smart of that 14-year-old. Sorry, Mike. That's very smart of the 14-year-old. Okay, last one. If the cops invite you to come down to talk, say no. The minute they tell you they're taking you, shut up. Other than that, you want a lawyer. Even if you are 100% innocent, period. There's no gray areas to this. That's true because if they suspect you of doing something, they're going to act like you did it, and they can... Most of the time, or a lot of times, they trick people into thinking that they did something, or confessing at least that they did something, by basically stressing them out so much so to do that. So, yes, say nothing. Remember what the Miranda warning says. Anything you say can and will be used against you. They will never use what you say to your advantage, only to harm you. So don't say anything. True. Always against, which is sad, but it's also crazy and sad that we live in a world where people commit crimes and lie. So, and lie detector tests, we don't really trust them all the way, because I ain't gonna tell you how, but just know I know. All right, next, not topic, not segment, but next Reddit post. Parents of Reddit, what is the best weird flex but okay moment you've seen from your child? My son told me he doesn't need school because he already knows the name of 10 dinosaurs. Edit: for everyone who wants to know, my son's favorite dino is a Spinosaurus. Valid point. It's funny how kids really think they know it all, and they don't know much. Kids really be thinking that they know the whole entire world when it's like, bro, you're 3. You don't know that much. You're new here. But next, my 7-year-old said, I know everything until you ask me a question. Well, okay. Hey, that's true. That explains what I just said. They know everything until you ask them a question. A master of quantum knowledge, I see. My son started 2nd grade this week. A couple of weeks ago, the school sent out postcards with the date and time of the open hours and his teacher's name. I asked him if he was excited to be in Mrs. So-and-so's class, and he said yes, but he's also worried. I asked what he was worried about, and he said, what if she falls in love with me and wants to marry me? I laughed and reassured him that he need not worry since she's already married. That's a valid worry. Like, what if she falls in love with me? Like, I'm such a charming guy. She might fall in love with me like everybody else does. That is so cute. When I was an after-school tutor, make sure this water's not in the way. Okay. When I was an after-school tutor for primary school kids, I excused a boy to the bathroom. He came back telling me he made the biggest poo in the world. He intentionally didn't flush so that I could come look at it. I told him that was great, but it was art time. He said his big poo was art. A regular Pablo Picasso. Salvador Dali. That's funny. Kids will do that. That's leaving it in there. I don't know if that's sense of humor, but that's art. Especially if it's astounding. When my son was about 5, we went to visit relatives in Washington, D.C. area. We were on the metro when my son eyed a very pretty professional young woman. I've got a lot of blocks, he told her. If you come to my room, I'll show you. Then he made motorcycle noises for about 10 seconds. My son does this. Not the motorcycle noises, but inviting people over to experience the things that he has. A friend of mine had 2 young boys. The older one, maybe 5, was sitting with him and pointed at the white hair and said, "What's this, Papa?" My friend said, "Oh, it just means I'm getting old." And his son looked at him dead serious. Looked at his brother and said, "Well, I guess it's just us and Mom soon, huh?" Kids are ruthless. Kids are ruthless. They really are. Like, you're a goner already. That's all you had to say. You're getting old. Oh, you're done. You're done. When I was 6, my absent father came back into my life briefly, and I paraded him around all my friends, bragging, saying, "This is my dad. I bet you thought I didn't have a dad, but I did." He was gone again within a month. Dang. That hurt. That hurt. That'd be that hurt, man, because that man saw you, so happy to see him, and knew he was going to leave, and left and never came back. Dang. Sorry to you, sir. My son, 4 at the time, was, I guess, trying to impress the 6-year-old neighbor girl. He leaned casually on his arm and said, "I have lots of accidents. Pee and poop accidents." I hope for his sake his pickup lines improve. So you're into bad boys. Because I'm really bad at everything. I color outside the lines. I get problems wrong on purpose. I don't listen to my parents on purpose. I pee and poop on... Wait, I have lots of accidents. Pee and poop accidents is crazy to me. When my son was 5, a waitress at Applebee's asked him how old he was. To which he exclaimed, "I'm 5 and I pooped today." I think everyone within 4 tables of us was very impressed. Literally, they say everything and anything that's on their mind. My dad took my daughter out to eat once when she was 2, and the server asked if she was ready for ice cream. She said, "No, I have a poop coming." He just said, "Well, more room for ice cream then," which I think was pretty dope for someone being paid basically nothing to work at Applebee's. Aw. I have a poop coming. They're so cute though. Like, if an adult said that, and it's like, oh, but since it's a kid saying it, it's so cute. Well, it looks like that's all we have. It looks like that's all the time we have here today, folks. I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. I already said I appreciate you, but I appreciate you 2 times. And I hope that your weekend life sees more positivity and more positive experiences and blessings and et cetera, whatever you want to happen. I hope all your dreams come true. But don't make sure your dreams come true and you come back next week to listen to what I say. Okay? If you have any suggestions or things you want to talk about or you want me to talk about, leave a comment. If you have a question and you need advice, hit me up. Actually, you can hit me up at Soulevision@gmail.com. If you have questions and you have advice, advice, email me. I feel like that's better because clearly I haven't been knowing that I've been getting comments, but I really do appreciate all of you that tune in. I appreciate the new people that are coming in, and I hope you just have an amazing day. And without further ado, bye.